I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
We have such sights to show you.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
I guess I was probably returning videotapes.
I am big. It's the picture that got small.
Who cares?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest installment of the Movie Roulette Tuesday podcast. This is Carl.
Rachel.
This is Matt.
Now, before we get into the episode, I just want to talk about the elephant in the room.
There's an elephant here?
The sound of this episode. So, just a little inside baseball. But you guys are familiar with this because I did post a photo of our Soviet friend. But we historically had been using a Yeti podcasting microphone, and we would all sort of hunker around it.
In the form of a rhombus.
In the shape of a rhombus,
yes.
Even though, can you have a rhombus with three people?
We made it work.
We made it work.
Okay. Yeah. And that was fine. It was good, but we've upgraded. We're always looking to get better and to improve things. And
upward.
Matt acquired this miracle device that Zoom makes, Zoom of the famous virtual meetings, that is specifically designed for podcasts. And we all have our own unique lapel mics and headsets. We're legit now.
We moved on up in the world.
We've upgraded.
We have to be quieter now.
No, you don't need to be quiet.
So we sound like an NPR podcast.
We went through pains to adjust everyone's gain level beforehand, and then as soon as you hit record, everyone's talking low.
Yes.
That's right, so we can bore you to death.
Yes, Bueller,
about
voodoo,
subjects.
economics.
Voodoo, economics.
There's also, like, other stuff it can do.
Oh, there's wacky things in here.
But now it's like, now we look like we're podcasting.
Yeah.
We all have headphones and individual mics, and it's ridiculous.
Well, let's hang on.
And I can do stupid crap like this.
Wait.
Well, what?
Wait. Why don't lobsters share?
Because they're shellfish.
Because they're shellfish.
You're so stupid. Oh, you got applause. And a laugh track.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can do stupid crap like that now. But we won't do it too much.
No.
Like some horrible morning DJ. Like, yeah.
Oh.
We and the butt.
Yeah.
No, we won't be doing that.
No.
It's nice. Zoom makes this PodTrack P4
It's very fancy.
thing. I don't have to bring the computer into the mix until I'm doing editing and stuff like that. It records everyone's mic separately, but also does a stereo mix down at the same time. It's cool.
So hopefully, your ear holes
and hopefully
like
it sounds better.
Yeah. That's what we really want.
Less echoey. It's
a little echo. I can still hear it. It's
You're
still driving me crazy.
shouting at the wall. Stop it.
Well, that's what I usually do.
Turn away.
I just shout
at
at the
wall.
walls.
That's you.
That's what life is sometimes,
That's
right?
Shouting
Just
at the walls.
Shouting at the wall.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
if you notice that we sound a little different this week, we have upgraded. So
This is why. This is us
let us
now.
know what you think. Do we sound better? Do we sound worse? I would think we'd have to sound better, but we'd love to hear your feedback.
Hopefully it's better. If it's not,
Then we can't help you.
Too bad.
Then we can try to fix it. But
Yeah, but we're going to give this a shot.
Okay.
So that's why this week sounds different.
Better.
So, on to the episode itself. So, we are concluding our themesicle of You're Driving Too Fast. And I definitely, Matt went an interesting way with his pick. It definitely made sense. It was a great movie for the theme. I wanted to stick to a traditional. When I heard that theme, I said, I want a car chase movie.
Yes.
What's a good car chase movie? And where I went with it was, the first thing I thought of was actually Death Proof.
Which is a good one.
Not to pick Death Proof, though. But I remembered when Death Proof came out that Quentin Tarantino talked a lot about Vanishing Point.
Okay.
And Vanishing Point's even referenced in Death Proof.
Is it really?
it's referenced both by characters and the license plate on the car
Okay.
in Death Proof is the same license plate in the car in Vanishing Point. So, I wanted to pick Vanishing Point.
Did Tarantino, you read his book, right?
I went back to his book because I was like, maybe he has a chapter on it, because he has chapters on certain movies.
Do you remember the name of the book? Just because I can't, I can't remember it.
Oh, God. See, you're putting me on the spot. I own the stupid thing.
Well, that was when we watched that other
I think it's on
movie.
cinema. Isn't it like on cinema or...
Okay. It doesn't matter.
Or cinema...
Because, yeah, he only wrote... I mean, the only two books I'm aware of that he wrote is the...
Cinema Speculation.
Okay. Yeah, that one, and then the one related to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
The novelization of that, yeah.
Yep.
So he has the book Cinema Speculation. So, I'd like to do at least some research, as we all do with our picks.
Yes.
And so I was like, well, maybe he has a chapter on it. And he only mentions it 3 times in the book, but he mentions it in terms of, oh, I saw it in the theater.
Okay.
Or I saw it on a double bill with so-and-so. Like, he doesn't go into great detail.
What was the
about
other
it.
movie that we watched that Tarantino loved, and it was about a POW?
Rolling Thunder.
Rolling Thunder.
That's right.
Did you find out, was that in the book?
Yes.
Okay.
Rolling
But there was
Thunder.
like an actual chapter.
There's a whole chapter about Rolling
Yeah,
Thunder in
yeah.
the book. Not so much Vanishing Point.
Okay.
But I did look at that, interestingly enough. So the other annoying thing about this movie is the way we had to find it to even watch it. Because it's not readily available on home media, at least not in this country. It's not streaming anywhere.
Right.
So we had to use a little site called the Internet Archive.
Which is a great site.
It
and
is.
it's free.
Dubious legality with some of these
It's
things
free.
because it's accessible by everyone in the world. Each country has their own rules, and I don't know where their servers are hosted, so whatever. Use at your own risk. Is what I'm trying to say.
It's also not easy because I searched on that site and I couldn't find it. I ended up, Matt gave me the hint as to what to do, and what you need to do is instead of going to that website, it's archive.org?
Yeah.
Don't go to archive.org and just search for Vanishing Point, because they've got all sorts of stuff on that site. They've got movies, they've got TV shows, they've got books, they've got all sorts of different formats of media on there. What you got to do is go to your search engine of choice and put in site...
SITE.
SITE:archive.org, and then in quotes put Vanishing Point. And it'll take you right to it.
Yeah, and that's just a way to use the cached index searches from your search engine to actually search the site instead of relying on the search mechanism that site has implemented.
Because then if you're using the site, you have to filter it and by media type, and it's just, even doing that I couldn't find
Cumbersome.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But searching like I just told you, it came right up. It was like the first result. And you can play it right from the website.
Yep.
But anyway, let's talk about the movie. So it was made in 1971, Rachel's favorite decade for movies.
Oh, my God.
Directed by Richard Safarian. He was both a director and an actor.
Ooh.
He also directed the Twilight Zone episode Living Doll.
Living Doll.
He also did some
Was that the one with the little boy? And like the doll makes the people vanish in the cornfield, or no, he doesn't have a doll. It's just him.
Is that the Talking Tina one?
Is that Talking Tina?
I don't know. I like that one, Talking Tina.
I don't like you very much.
My name's Talking Tina. I don't like you very much.
Let me see. Yes, it is Talking Tina.
It is Talking Tina.
It is
Oh,
Talking Tina.
nice. I like that.
So he directed the Talking Tina episode of the Twilight Zone.
Talking Tina.
He also did some episodes of Batman and Gunsmoke, the 60s Batman.
So this is like Rick Dalton.
Sure.
Rick Dalton. The hero in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I know who
who
Rick
did
Dalton
I know
is.
who he is, but
Oh,
I don't know
don't
why
know.
you're mentioning
This
it.
guy
he was
directed
like
those.
I'm just thinking about like 60s action shows.
Sure.
You know, like he did. Never mind. My
You're just
brain
shouting things now.
just shout things. It's Rick Dalton.
I remember that.
So it stars Barry Newman.
Gary Newman?
Barry.
Here
with
in
a
my
B.
car. I feel safest of all.
He was mostly active in the 70s. It also stars Cleavon Little, who we would mostly, our generation probably knows from Blazing Saddles.
Okay. A great movie.
Not Levon Cleef, but Cleavon.
Cleavon Little. This movie was actually his first big, widely known role.
Okay.
His final acting role, interestingly enough, was an episode of Tales from the Crypt in 1992.
Weird.
Yeah. It was written by G. Cabrera Infante, who was a Cuban novelist.
Oh, good.
He actually based the storyline on 2 actual events. One event at the time was about a disgraced San Diego police officer, and another was a car chase revolving around a man who was fleeing from police and refusing to stop.
Yeah, that's all car chases.
Yes. Yep.
And he based Cleavon Little's character on the Big Bopper.
Really?
Yep.
Is he a musician?
No, he's a radio DJ.
Oh, okay. All right.
In the movie, anyway.
Okay.
So, as far...
How is that based off the Big Bopper?
No
Maybe
idea.
he was a radio DJ for a while.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Your NPR voice is back.
Thank you. I'd like to talk to you about oatmeal.
Oh, keeps you regular.
A lot of fiber.
So as far as a description, let's see. IMDb, I don't like the description. It's very vague.
Can you read it to us, though?
During the 1970s, car delivery driver Kowalski delivers hot rods in record time, but always runs into trouble.
That's it?
That's all IMDb says.
Okay.
Wikipedia.
Oh.
It focuses on a disaffected ex-policeman and race car driver delivering a muscle car cross-country to California while high on speed, being chased by police and meeting various characters along the way.
That sounds so much better.
That sounds much more...
So much more interesting.
Entertaining.
And colorful.
Like 2 different movies.
Then,
right?
guy's driving and runs into trouble.
So he's driving cars that he's delivering.
He's delivering this car.
Okay.
And hijinks apparently ensue.
All right. That sounds fun.
So this was a failure when it was first released.
Oh.
Fox, 20th Century Fox was the original person who released it, which I'm wondering if that's why it's not really available now, because Disney owns
maybe
Fox.
That might have something to do with it.
I know they're very inconsistent with their physical media that they release. But it failed upon first release, but it did really well in the UK and Europe. So they ended up re-releasing it in the US in a double bill with a French connection.
Really?
Oh, really?
And then after its initial release, it was released to drive-ins.
Okay.
And it did very well in drive-ins.
I bet it did.
This seems like a drive-in kind of movie.
It does. Yes.
Now, the car in this is a 1970 Dodge Challenger.
Of course it is.
Apparently, the director wanted to use a Chrysler because the film studio had a deal with Chrysler to any Chrysler car they could have for $1 a day rental fee.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
But the studio head, Richard Zanuck, insisted they use, because it was new at the time, the 1970 Dodge Challenger.
Because it was way cooler than any Chrysler made at the time.
And so they pushed the director to use the Dodge Challenger. Which Tarantino used a Dodge Challenger in Death Proof as an homage.
Yeah, to this movie. Okay.
Although the one in Death Proof was an automatic as opposed to the one in this movie.
This is a manual.
Which is a manual.
Have you ever been in one of those, like from the 70s?
No.
Or a Charger?
I bet they're loud.
They're rattly.
They're fun. It's like a train.
Yeah.
they go real fast and it take a long time to stop. A friend of mine when I was growing up had a 1978, I think, Dodge Charger, not a Challenger, but they're similar cars.
They're so similar. Like, it's really hard to tell the difference. Even the name sounds similar.
The front end looks a little different. The headlights are different and stuff. I happen to like the Challenger better, but cool cars.
Nice.
A lot of fun.
Muscle cars.
Some fun facts. It's one of Steven Spielberg's favorite films.
Really?
As well as Bruce Springsteen.
What?
Really? Okay.
And Edgar Wright cited it as an inspiration for Baby Driver.
Oh, all right. Okay.
So that's what we're watching. I had a lot of other... When I initially couldn't find this movie, I had some other sort of irons in the fire.
You did.
There was a movie called Two Lane Blacktop. which stars James Taylor and the drummer from the Beach Boys.
That's such a weird combo.
James Taylor's music is like audio NyQuil for me.
It's like NPR. They should play it on NPR.
I just can't stand James
I don't
Taylor.
mind. I don't know why you guys have all this hate for James Taylor. Like, he's fine.
He's not fine.
He's fine. What is the anger?
I can't say the words.
Okay.
You know how Blade Runner puts you to
company.
sleep immediately?
Yeah.
James Taylor's like my Blade Runner.
Okay.
It's like the wussiest bullshit music that there is. I can't stand it.
It's just like late rock. There's so many other songs like that.
Yeah, but Hall & Oates is light rock too, and they're awesome.
Well, I agree.
Right, but you see the difference or hear the difference.
Well,
right?
yeah, I like Hall & Oates infinitely more than James Taylor, but I don't get like angry or upset.
And it's not just the Fire and Rain song. It's his voice. It's the songwriting. It's not for me.
Not for
Overrated.
Okay.
It's not for me.
You know what? I don't mind James Taylor. I don't celebrate his entire catalog. I'm not like, hey, let's put on a James Taylor album. But it's all right.
So,
like if it's on the store.
But he was in one movie as an actor, and it was that one
was it.
about cars. Two-Lane Blacktop.
Okay.
Criterion had put it out. It was readily available. The other movie that I almost picked was a 1980s movie called The Wraith with Charlie Sheen.
That one sounded weird when you described it.
Yeah. So if Matt hadn't found Vanishing Point, then I probably would have picked The Wraith.
The Wraith.
The Wraith.
Like a Rolls Royce Wraith?
No.
Did we talk about that last week? He's a Wraith in the movie.
There is a mysterious ghostly driver that is going after a gang that is killing people by luring them into street races.
Okay. Wow.
That's
very elaborate.
So I almost picked The Wraith.
Okay.
But my number one, I wanted to watch Vanishing Point
I'm so
just
glad
because.
that this
Well, we're gonna
came through for you.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we always have some points of discussion. So
Yes.
so my point of discussion for this episode, because obviously this movie is about a man who is having to drive this car a long distance in order to deliver it. Mm-hmm. What's the longest distance you guys have driven?
Well, I think it's the same one for both of us.
Yeah, I would say so.
Like driving in the car or like being driven in a car?
That you drove. Like, what's the longest you've driven?
Well, between the two of us, we drove to South Carolina, Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
That was 16 hours.
Yep.
You did it in one shot?
One shot.
One shot.
We traded off. But once you hit like hour 5 of driving, sometimes hour 4, you enter this like zone, and I feel like it's an unsafe zone. Like you kind of get tunnel vision, you kind of zone out, you're not alert anymore. No matter what time of day it is, no matter what's going on, you do, because you've been driving like we drove to Virginia last year, which was...
It was a 9-hour drive.
It was a 9-hour drive. And I really felt it that time. Like after 3 hours, by hour 4, it's like, I need a break. And I think it was longer than 9 hours. I think it was like a 12-hour drive.
No, it wasn't. It was 9 hours. But I don't know. Everyone's different. I get that point. Maybe like anything over 6 hours. It's like, all right, if there's someone else I can drive with, that's a great time to switch. Yeah. But if you're driving 8 hours, it's like just break it up. Do 4 and 4, or 2, 2, 2, 2.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. After a while, it like gets to you. You get like
highway hypnosis. Yeah, I think they call it.
Yeah. Yeah. But about 16 hours. When I was a kid, I was driven to Florida. That took 2 days. That sucked. Like all the way to the bottom of Florida.
Did you stop, or was it still?
Yeah, no. We stayed overnight one night. It was actually during Hurricane Bob.
Oh.
So we had just left Rhode Island, and we're like listening to the news, and it's like everything's destroyed. And here we are, like, bye.
I was at Boy Scout camp getting evacuated during Hurricane Bob.
Hurricane Bob. But Carl, how long have you driven in a car? You went to Georgia, right? You drove to Georgia.
Drove to and from Georgia.
Yeah, that's long.
From Rhode Island and to Rhode Island. I don't necessarily remember the drive down as much, but the drive back, I do remember vividly. I don't remember how long it took necessarily, but my wife at the time and I were moving back to Rhode Island from Georgia.
Yes.
And so we had a U-Haul. So it was a U-Haul with my car hooked to a trailer.
Oh, no.
Behind it.
Oh.
And we got the shittiest U-Haul. Ugh. The radio didn't work.
Ugh.
Oh my God.
The air didn't work. And the rear view mirrors, because obviously you don't have a center rear view mirror because the truck is behind you.
Right.
You just have the side mirrors. Every time a gust of wind would hit the truck, the mirrors would collapse into the side of the truck. So I had to keep on like reaching out the window and pushing
fixing it.
The rear view mirror so I could see.
Yep. Oh, that sounds great.
You got the full experience.
And we had 2 cats in the cab with us.
Not loose.
No, they were in their carriers.
Oh, all right, but they're probably like yowling and
yowling
pissed
the
off
whole time, and there's no radio.
Oh.
And
how long of a drive is that? How?
Oh, God, I don't remember how many miles. I mean, however long it's between Alpharetta and Rhode Island.
It's got to be at least 18 hours.
It was in the high teens.
Yeah.
And the other thing that happened on that trip, so eventually I got sick of the mirror situation.
So what did you do?
So I was like, you know what? I've got a ratchet set in the trunk of the car. I'm going to fix these mirrors.
Okay.
So I pulled over on the New Jersey Turnpike. We got to New Jersey. I pulled over on the New Jersey Turnpike to get the ratchet set out of my trunk. Mm-hmm. The problem was I was wearing sunglasses. I have prescription glasses that I had put on my lap. In the drive, I forgot that they were on my lap.
No.
So when I furiously pulled the U-Haul over on the New Jersey Turnpike and stormed out of the U-Haul to get the ratchet set, the glasses fell out of my lap and onto the New Jersey Turnpike. And I didn't realize that they were missing until we were well past the point that I was going to turn around to try to find my glasses.
There's no way. No.
I mean, as filthy as New Jersey can be, they might still be on the New Jersey Turnpike to this day.
Disintegrated at this point.
But that's the other notable thing that happened on that trip is I lost my glasses on the New Jersey Turnpike.
That's awful. Losing your glasses or having your glasses broken is like nightmare fuel.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, at that time, because I have astigmatism.
Yeah.
So, well, at the time I only had astigmatism, so I could see without my glasses. It would just impact me if I tried to read for an extended period of time.
Yeah, which is good. So at least you could draw, you know.
Like if I lost my glasses now, I'd be in serious trouble. Yeah. Like I would not be able to read a single thing.
Nope.
It's all blurry. Like I could see people, but forget about reading my phone or a computer screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It'd be a situation.
Pulling over on the Jersey Turnpike, that's a
bold move right there.
I was done. Yeah. I'm like, I'm sick of this mirror. Because it was super windy. Of course, it was a super windy day.
Yeah.
And like eventually, like I was holding, like I'm driving the U-Haul with one arm and holding the mirror out.
No, that's awful.
That sucks. Do you remember, did you go through Manhattan? Did you take the George Washington Bridge or did you go up and around the Tappan Zee Bridge?
No, I went Tappan Zee.
Good idea.
Yeah. No, we did
Tappan Zee. Oh my God, I couldn't even imagine driving like a U-Haul with a car
behind it. And I hate driving trucks.
Yeah.
I hate driving anything bigger than my car. I always feel like I'm driving a boat.
I like driving trucks.
Like driving that U-Haul, it's just, oh God.
Well, because it's a piece of shit.
And it's huge to me.
Yeah.
And I always feel like I'm taking up the entire lane. I was worrying about my car the whole time. The tolls, because you get paid by the axle.
Yeah, so extra money.
I was getting nailed with the tolls. It was just, it was miserable. And not for nothing. And my current wife says this all the time. I'm not great with small talk. And she said, like, if I were ever stuck in a car with you that long, we would kill each other. Like, we would just...
Just be silent.
For that long?
Well...
How can you be bad at small talk? I mean, you talk about all kinds of things. There's a zillion things you could talk about.
Sure.
We never have a problem here with talking.
No, I feel like our talks are substantial.
They are.
In content. But yeah, I mean...
But that's small talk, right?
Or is that big talk?
Or is it big talk?
That's probably bigger talk.
Okay.
Well, but if you're in the car for 16 hours, I mean, that's time for a big talk. something
I
positive.
think it's just rough
hopefully.
that there's no other sound. Like, you have nothing else.
Yeah, the
except
radio.
the wind.
The radio's being out is a killer.
Yeah.
I need music to drive for
Long distances,
that long.
yeah.
Right.
Definitely. That's rough.
Yeah,
'Cause
that
then
was a
it's
rough
just
drive.
Silence. And then you want to talk because you don't want to fall asleep. You know?
Right.
You don't want to get into that
That's true.
danger zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So, yeah.
that sucks. My dad drove cross country, I think, twice. And I think it was a VW Beetle. That was in the 70s also. Maybe it was like this movie.
Yeah,
Like
I had
driving crazy.
my friend from work on her honeymoon. She and her husband flew from Rhode Island to Texas,
Yeah.
and then they got a rental car and they drove home
Back to Rhode Island?
back to Rhode Island.
Why?
Because they basically mapped out like,
Oh, okay.
here's where we
I
want to
see.
stop.
They did like a
on
road
our
trip.
way.
Yeah.
But like a one-way road trip.
Okay. That's not a bad idea. I would like someday, maybe when I'm retired, we're retired, like get an RV and do it right. Like take a couple months and do the great American road trip. You know, go down Route 66, go west, go see all, the Badlands and Mount Rushmore and Estes National Park and the Grand Canyon, but do it in an RV so that you have places to stop and it's comfortable and
Yeah, and you take like a month.
Exactly.
So you're not
I
trying
would
to
love that.
cram it
You have
into
all your food
a
with
week or
you.
two.
You're not sleeping in like weird hotels or strange places. You've got your little RV. I would like to do that at some point.
I mean, we
no
did look
idea.
into that. I was trying to rent an RV, and man, that can get expensive real quick.
Yeah.
At least the places that I found where you got to pay for their RV rental, and then you're getting charged by the mile over a certain amount.
And the gas, you have to fill it
Yeah,
up.
The gas is a factor. Yeah.
But I don't know. It seems like kind of a cool thing to do, like an American thing to do.
Yeah. It's almost like cheaper to just buy a used one.
Yeah.
Just
And then just
do it, do your
sell
trip,
it
and
when
then
you're
sell
done.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think that would be kind of cool someday. I would like to do that.
Some people live like they'll retire and they'll buy.
I don't want that.
Like an RV.
No.
I don't either.
I need a home base. I need
get me
land.
wrong. They do. They'll buy like a nice RV or like a bus. Like
Yeah,
a
and they
tour
rent
bus.
space in like an RV park.
Yep.
And they have hookups and like a patio or
Like when we went out to Key West.
Yeah.
A lot of people did that.
Yep, they do.
They'll drive down and park there for the season or whatever.
which I guess that work. I don't want. That's not the lifestyle I would like to have.
No, I want no neighbors.
Pretty much.
My wife, my current wife, and I've only had two. I don't want to make it seem like
I want you to
I'm like,
myriad
going through 'em.
It's like a bluebird.
wife number 5.
They're all dead in the closet.
Oh.
Oh, there it is. You did it.
I gotta find opportune
You
times.
nailed
for
it.
Gotta get our money's worth.
That was good.
My current wife, she moved from Tennessee to Massachusetts, and she drove up here. So she used a moving company, but she had to drive up here.
Right.
She drove up here in her, I don't even remember what kind of car it was. It was a little car. It was a small car, though, with 4 cats and a black lab
Oh, no.
in the car with her,
No.
driving from Memphis to Massachusetts.
No way. How was that ride?
Not great.
No. Anytime you're traveling with pets, too. Ugh. Especially cat. Like,
You gotta stop. You gotta walk the dog.
you gotta walk the
She
dog.
stopped. She didn't do it all in one trip. So she
No.
did stop overnight, but she had to find like a pet-friendly hotel
Yeah.
Yeah.
and all of that. But I could imagine driving in just like a small car with 4 cats,
With 4 cats and a dog.
and a lab, not even
Nope.
like a big dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He probably sat in the front seat. The cats are in the back.
I would imagine. I mean, the cats I would assume were in their carriers, but yeah.
Well, it's not like you can buckle them in either. So
No.
God forbid anything happens, they're all just
I mean,
projectiles.
I know.
Yeah, I mean,
inside the car.
you could maybe feed the seatbelt through the handles or something,
Of the
but
carrier, but not a dog.
not the dog.
Right.
That's like when people travel with dogs on their laps. All I think of is you're going to murder. If you get in an accident, your dog is dead.
Right.
Especially if you're driving.
Yes,
And you have a
you're
dog
going to
in your lap.
smash that dog between you and the
Yeah.
airbag, or
And
you
you're
and
much
the
more
seat.
likely to get into that accident
worries
because you
me.
have this animal distracting you.
Right. I don't like it. I don't approve.
No.
of that. This is a public
No, it's
service
like
announcement.
if you're taking your dog to like a dog park, or obviously taking it to a vet appointment, or even if you want to take it to PetSmart.
Hey, whatever. You can drive around with you. This is America. You can do whatever you
Right.
want. I'm just saying, when I see people with the dog, that's like, would you put your kid on your lap in the car anymore?
They
No.
probably would, yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't know how legal it is to have a dog on your lap while you're driving.
Well, I don't know how legal it is to bring a dog into a grocery store, but people do it all the time.
Yeah, but I don't think it matters if your dog has a service dog jacket that you bought off of Amazon on it when it's on your lap.
This is my service.
Back in the day, when I was a manager at Sam's Club, a lady was trying to bring this little dog into Sam's Club,
Yeah.
and I was the front end manager.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, is that a service animal?" And I knew it wasn't a service animal.
Yes.
It's one of those little white,
Yeah.
nondescript
Frou-frou dogs.
Frou-frou
Yeah.
yappy dogs. And she went, "Excuse me?" I said, "Your dog, is it a service animal?" "No." "Well, then you can't bring it in."
Right.
"What do you mean?" I'm like, "Ma'am, we have food products in here. You can't bring your dog in."
This
your
isn't
dog in
PetSmart.
here.
She
Yeah.
was so like, "Ugh," and like the dog is like shivering because it doesn't want to be in
I
there.
know. I'm scared.
And I felt so good.
Did you? Did
I
you
was
feel
like,
good? You're like,
"Oh."
get your dog out of here.
Get your dog out of here, lady.
Dogs don't belong in the grocery store.
No.
Sorry.
So it was great. It was great. Now I'd probably get canceled
You would. You can't do
because
that
that was her
anymore.
emotional support dog.
That's right. You cannot do that, and you can't tell anybody anything. But I'm sure it felt good at the time, and I could still see it happen and judge those people. And
Yeah,
I do. Ugh.
especially when it's clear the dog doesn't want to be there. Like if the dog is like terrified.
I don't care
like,
if
what
the
do you-
dog does want to be there. The dog doesn't belong with the food. The dog licks its own butt.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Do that in your own house.
It's like
That's
our dog
cool.
ate cat litter.
Yeah. Oh, good. Now it's licking the apples. Gross.
That's why
Anyway.
whenever I see commercials for that refrigerated dog food, it's like the dog will eat anything you put in front of it. You
Oh,
need to-
listen. We have family members that feed their dogs refrigerated dog food.
Yeah.
It's serious business. Supposedly it's good for I don't know. I wouldn't do it.
Hear me out, because I agree in principle with that, but
Yeah.
I watch a lot of YouTube, and I get bombarded with commercials, and for whatever reason, this company, Chewy,
Oh yeah.
That's like an online dog shop.
Mm-hmm.
Pet store.
I know, but they've like got it in their head that they really need to sell me something.
You
So
don't even have a dog.
I know.
I know.
And I
think
keep
they
trying
do
to tell
cat
them that.
stuff.
But yeah, it's pet shit. So
Yeah.
there's a commercial on there. I think it's with Chewy. If not, it's with something that I'm sure that they sell. But it says, no living being should eat processed food for every meal of their life. And I kind of have to agree with that. Where, you have this animal who's, I mean, they're not in the wild, they're domesticated.
But they're carnivores.
They're
by
carnivores,
nature.
exactly. And they're
Yeah.
used to eating meat and whatever else, bugs. But all of a sudden you're feeding them like NutriBits.
Listen, NutriBits are good. We feed our cats.
I know
really
that.
good.
No. I'm not saying that
cat
we should
food.
change or get 3 cats wet cat food, because that's
That's
just
bad
kind of
for their
crazy.
teeth.
And it is bad for their teeth. But having every meal be like, imagine having grape nuts every
They
meal,
don't care.
every day
They do
of your
not
entire
care.
life.
Wow, that commercial got to you. It's playing on your emotions.
It worked.
It did work.
I did not get
Jesus.
emotionally hooked. I have
did.
no desire to actually change what we're doing, but I get their point.
I don't. We all eat processed food every
We do,
day.
and that's bad too.
I
Right?
agree.
Shouldn't we eat less processed food?
We should, but I see. Okay, so some people feed their animals raw meat, and I think you can do that, but I
Okay.
think you have to be careful.
But that's the other end of the spectrum,
well,
which
that's
is just
everything
as,
else is processed food. Even that refrigerated shit is processed food.
It is. You're right.
It's got preservative in it. It has to last. It's still processed.
Yeah, it is.
So what's the difference?
I don't know. Maybe it's less processed, or it has a more
think you-
rounded nutrient profile than just dry kibble food.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the key with I'm no veterinarian, but I think the key with pet food for carnivores is that the first ingredient should be meat.
Right.
It shouldn't be like cornmeal or wheat or, that's like having a vegan cat, basically.
Yeah, that doesn't exist.
I mean, it does make a huge difference. When we adopted Anita, we got her from a shelter, and her fur was very, coarse and bristly.
Yeah.
Because it was a shelter. Like, they're probably buying the cheap stuff because they have to buy in quantity, and they don't want to be paying out the nose.
They're literally just keeping the animals alive.
Right. And so we do the Blue Buffalo or whatever the cat equivalent is.
Yeah, we use that.
And her coat, almost immediately,
It's shiny.
is better. It's
and
shiny
healthy.
and soft, and it's just, so we're
It makes a difference, just like humans. The better quality food you put in your body.
Yeah.
But everything's processed. I call bullshit on that commercial. Don't listen to them.
I don't know that it's bullshit, but anyway.
What were they selling?
Food.
But was it the
for
refrigerated
dogs.
food?
I don't remember because I never see more than 5 seconds of
And
any ad.
Fresh.
If I can skip
the commercial
Such
we see all the time because you guys cut the cord so smartly. You don't get stuck with the commercials. But Fresh Pet is the big commercial that we see all the time.
Okay.
Is that a food brand? Like, is that a brand or is it?
It's refrigerated dog food.
That's got to be what it is.
And the commercials are always the same, where there's a pet owner with a dog, and they have somebody over their house that it's implied they're close with. So either a potential significant other, like somebody they're dating, or a relative, a mother-in-law, or and the said person, the guest, goes into the person's fridge. And they pull out this tube of nondescript.
Because it looks like a
ground beef.
bologna.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Is this dog food?" And the person will go, "No, it's Fresh Pet."
Oh, God.
And then the person's like, "You refrigerate your dog food?" And then it flashes forward and said person has been kicked out of the house. And the pet owner is now alone, usually sitting on the floor with their dog at that point, saying something like, "Who needs them anyway, right?"
Are you kidding me?
And every time I'm watching it, I'm like, well, first of all, you're going to die alone. Second of all, they're not wrong. It is dog food.
Right.
Just because you keep it in the fridge does not take away the fact that it's dog food. Did they have to be kind of like a dick about it? No.
It sounds like everyone's.
These aren't tissues; they're Kleenex.
But it's Kleenex.
It's just, I would never, if I was at somebody's house and went into their fridge, I would never, in a condescending way, be like, "What is this you have in your fridge?" So, could the guest have gone about it differently? Sure. But did they have to get kicked out of the house because the pet owner refuses to acknowledge that it is actually dog food, it's just refrigerated? It always bothers me.
It sounds like everyone has a bad attitude in that commercial.
They really do.
But
everybody's at fault.
Speaking of refrigerated...
Except the dog.
He didn't do anything wrong. Your sister is the one who has the refrigerated dog food. Yeah. And I literally did that. It was not with that kind of bad attitude, but I opened her fridge.
What is this?
And I'm like, what is this? Is this for the dogs? Is this dog food? And it was.
That's the exact setup to every Fresh Pet commercial. Except you would have gotten kicked out.
I would not, because I wasn't rude about it. I just asked in an open-ended, curious way. Is this dog food?
It's still dog food in your fridge.
Yes, it is still dog food. It's just refrigerated.
Yeah.
It still has preservatives in it.
Yes.
It has to. It wouldn't survive the shipping process. No store could store it and sell it. Things need preservatives. It's just how much.
Yeah.
It's more about, is it meat?
Maybe it's nice as a sometimes treat for the dog.
I think so.
Yeah.
Or if your dog has problems.
Yeah.
Digestive problems.
Yeah. Or if they have no teeth and they need something soft.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the wild, they would just die. Just saying.
I'm sure there's stuff they could find.
No.
Nope, dead.
Dead immediately.
Rachel would come kill it.
I would not go kill it.
The dog would just end it on its own.
Where's the sad trombone? Too late.
Yeah,
it's too late now.
That was totally inappropriate.
All right.
Anyway,
All right, so what did we have for dinner?
So
we had dog food.
Yes. No,
Pet.
it was fresh
Fresh
pet.
Pet.
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
Get out.
Yep.
We had pork cutlets, breaded,
Yes, Italian fried,
right? Yeah.
thin pounded pork cutlets.
Yeah.
Italian
It was tasty
style.
and,
Yeah,
and
they
some
were good.
pasta and a delicious wine sauce.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
could taste the wine.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have
Some kind of cookies, right?
our daughter made French toast cookies today.
Hey now.
Yeah.
And they are like a maple cinnamon sugar cookie
Oh, mon Dieu.
with like a maple icing and then a brown butter breadcrumbs sprinkled on the top. They're excellent. She did a great job.
She made these 100% on her own? Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
Almost, yeah. So, but she did great.
Good.
She's learning her way around the kitchen. It's about time.
Good.
So we're gonna have that for dessert.
All right.
So let's watch this thing
We're going to vanish into
To a
the
point.
film.
right to the point.
Yep.
Vanishing Point. Let's go.
Okay.
All right. And we have returned from our viewing of Vanishing Point.
Unlike the protagonist of the story, who does not return. Jesus.
Well, like boiling point,
Right.
frying point.
Right. Explosion point.
So what do we think?
I enjoyed this movie. It was a weird ass 70s movie, for sure.
Yep.
But it was a little bit of a gem. And we can talk about why.
Yeah,
But
well, we'll go through it.
It dragged
But
a little
just
bit.
Initial thoughts.
Towards the end, it was like, all right, let's wrap this up. But
it did.
it did.
It did.
it
It
really
wrapped
did.
it up.
It brought it to an end, an explosive ending. But the first half, I really liked it. Like, it was just a lot of cars, a lot of just desert shots and racing and
Stunt driving.
yeah, good soundtrack, and you
Yeah.
don't really know what's going on. And
But the
other than-
movie kind of feeds it to you as you go on.
bit by bit,
You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
it kind of jumps you right in. It starts with the end, or just about the end,
Right.
and then it's like, let us back up.
Yeah. So we'll go through it.
Then there's the whole, like, the title Vanishing Point, which, as far as I know, that's when, you know, something hits the horizon and you finally lose sight
Yeah.
of it. I'm still not 100% sure how that plays into the movie.
A vanishing point is a point on the image plane of a perspective rendering where the two-dimensional perspective projections of mutually parallel lines in three-dimensional space appear to converge.
Yeah, everything converges and goes over. It's the horizon, and, you know.
The vanishing.
Which I think applies in a couple of different aspects of this movie.
I
Okay.
agree.
So just as our normal synopsis, spoilers. As
Wait to do that.
no, so
How dare you?
Matt
you know
is
what?
not going to use his power for good.
No,
No.
this isn't right. Where's the applause?
I don't use any power
I want
for
the
good.
applause button for
But yeah,
spoilers. Thank
for
you.
people that haven't
Thank
seen
you.
this. Thank you, everybody. All right.
Oh my God, I'm going to take this away from you.
The movie, as Rachel said, starts at the beginning, where you
The movie starts at the beginning.
the movie starts at the end, where they're showing these two, they're basically setting up a roadblock.
Yes.
So they've got these very large bulldozers that they're blocking the road with, and there are cops parked on either side of the bulldozers. So they're basically trying to funnel this guy. Like, they figured out where he's gonna be,
Right.
and they are making it so that he cannot get past
They
them.
have pinpointed him with high-tech California police work.
So that's where the movie starts, and then they show him heading toward the roadblock.
Yeah.
Then it flashes back to explain what the situation is. So our protagonist is Kowalski.
Cool. That's it. That's all you get.
And all you really know about him at the beginning of the movie is he works for an agency that delivers cars. Mm-hmm. So it's a Friday night, he's dropping off a car. And
Not on a car carrier truck. Like, he's
driving.
He's driving.
He's driving it himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's dropping a car off, and
In Colorado.
In Colorado, where the agency is, and he asks the owner of the establishment, "Where's the next car? I want to take the next car and start my next job." It seems like he's very friendly with the owner of the agency because the owner of the agency is trying to get him, like, "Hey, stay the night here, like, calm down,"
and admires him.
Right.
As evidenced in a later media interview, but likes this guy.
Yep. But Kowalski insists, like, "No, I need another car. I need to just get this done. I just need to keep going."
And he gives himself, it's like self-imposed deadlines. Like, he doesn't have to get this car to San Francisco by Sunday morning or afternoon or whatever. That's his thing.
Right.
He's like, I'm going to do this.
Right. So he ends up picking up a white 1970 Dodge Challenger that he needs to get from Colorado to San Francisco. And then he's off.
Yeah.
And various things happen to him on the way to San Francisco. But as the things happen, you get flashbacks of things that happened in his past. So you don't know anything about him at the start of the movie. But as Rachel said, they start peppering things in. So, you learn that he looks like he was a motorcycle racer and he crashed on a motorcycle during a race. He was a race car driver and got into a crash during a race. It was also said during the movie that he was a demolition derby driver. It's revealed that he is a Vietnam War vet.
With a Medal of Honor.
With a Medal of Honor. He was injured during the war and honorably discharged with honors. He had a special lady friend.
He was a cop.
He was a cop.
A hero cop.
He was a hero cop. He ended up stopping a fellow officer from sexually assaulting. I don't know if it was a witness or a suspect. It looked like they were trying to get information from a younger female, and his partner was getting a little handsy with her, and he stopped him. And he also had a special lady friend who drowned.
A surfer lady friend.
At least she was surfing. I don't know if they both were, but she drowned. So he's got a past.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot of things have happened in his past. Now, as far as things that happened to him on this journey, he encounters all sorts of people. I'm not quite sure. The initial motorcycle cops that were trying to get him to pull over. Was speed the offending incident? The initial, I couldn't figure out what the initial... Yeah, he was driving
like a maniac.
The first people he encounter are two motorcycle cops that are trying to pull him over.
Yeah. And he runs them off the road.
And he runs them through varying degrees of time. The first one he seems to get rid of fairly quickly. The second one stays on him for a while.
Lingers.
But he ends up knocking them both off their motorcycles and doesn't seem too bothered about it. Doesn't even really acknowledge that they're talking to him or trying to pull him over.
No.
And that's common. Like the whole movie, he's very nonchalant about everything.
Yes.
Doesn't seem nervous about anything. Doesn't really get emotional about anything.
Not at all.
No.
He's like very cool.
Yeah. He ends up, at one point, he ends up getting, I'm trying to think of the order of things. There's a Jaguar that tries to challenge him to a race. And he ends up running the Jaguar off the road. But he stops to make sure the guy's okay. So he's not completely...
psychotic.
Crazy.
Well, that was like, it was a race. He saw him as a peer as opposed to,
Well, and the guy challenged him.
Right. That guy started it.
He's like, do you want to race? And he's like, okay.
He did stop to make sure the guy was alive because the car flipped over a couple times.
And he didn't even really run him off the road. The Jaguar guy just wasn't as good of a driver.
Yeah.
So, but he stopped.
He stopped,
checked.
made sure he was alive, didn't talk to him, but as soon as he saw him walking, he got back in the car and left. He did another thing I should have said earlier. Before he goes on this big trip, he stops at his what seems like a drug dealer.
Yeah.
And he gets uppers.
Yep.
That would be a drug dealer.
Yes. But I don't know if that's his drug dealer or it seems like they had a pre-established relationship.
They're friendly.
Yeah.
And he makes a bet with him that he can get the car to San Francisco.
He's going to call him from California by 7 a.m. Sunday morning.
On Sunday.
And
the guy's basically like, there's no way you're making it to San Francisco on Sunday. And they make a friendly wager about it.
Right.
So he runs the Jaguar off the road. at one point he gets diverted into the desert.
Oh my God, he meets my favorite character.
And he comes across an old man who is collecting snakes.
Yep.
Because his tire blows. He gets lost in the desert, and his tire blows. And while he's changing his tire, a rattlesnake shows up.
And so does the snake guy.
And this old man comes out of nowhere. Hold on, Sonny, I'll take care of that.
With his dip tobacco black mouth. Ugh.
So he's got a basket full of snakes that he trades with a religious, like a faith healing, traveling
revival group
situation.
Yeah.
So he ends up Kowalski brings the old man to the religious group because he needs gas. So they exchange, he gets the gas, and the old man helps him hide, because at this point they've got helicopters looking for him on the desert. So the old man helps conceal him until the chopper flies away, and then he gives him directions as far as how to get back to the road. He comes across, was the biker next?
I don't keep track of this shit. Like
at this point. The other thing that's happening at the same time, which was kind of cool, is there's a DJ, a local DJ, and
what's his name?
Super Soul, and that's Cleavon Little.
Super Soul.
So Super Soul, they basically have access to like a police scanner type of thing where they can see the reports from the police stations. So they become aware that this is happening, and the Super Soul kind of creates this mythological, like he kind of makes this guy into like a local folk hero.
Definitely.
Where he's fighting against the man and don't you let them stop you, and he's kind of narrating the situation for the radio.
But not only narrating it for the radio, he takes it to the next level, I guess, where he's speaking directly to Kowalski. Mm-hmm. And like
trying to give him advice.
Coaching him.
Yeah.
Right, like warning him
it's
where
really
the cops
weird.
are. And the cops can
he's
hear
blind.
him.
He's blind.
He's blind.
He's blind.
Wearing a watch, which Matt noted. Why would you wear a watch if you're blind?
Wearing a watch.
But it kind of reminded me. I don't think you played these games, Matt, but Fallout games.
I never did. No.
In Fallout 3, there's a DJ called Three Dog.
Okay.
And as you play the game, you can listen to his radio station, and he'll talk about the stuff that you did.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I'm wondering if that's sort of borrowed from, because that's the first thing that popped in my mind.
Really?
Was Three Dog in Fallout 3 narrating basically every time a notable event happened in the game. He would say, "Hey, I heard rumors that the Wastelanders done this."
I mean, it certainly could be influenced.
It was
by
an interesting device.
Yeah.
You know, because it was almost like a parallel thing. Like Kowalski wasn't really engaged with the DJ.
When it first started, he shut the radio off. He wouldn't even listen to him.
He's not interested. He does listen at the end where
He's talking to him by the end. He's actually like they're having a conversation.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to be clear, there's
really.
nothing actually connecting them.
No.
They can't hear each
One
other.
way. Yeah.
But he's responding to the
radio.
Super Soul as if they were talking to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was That was an interesting. But you're right. This DJ elevates Kowalski to like a folk hero.
Right, where a crowd start gathering around the radio station because they must be listening and they want to be involved.
Did you get any sort of like feelings like the Super Soul or whatever was supposed to have this kind of like divine other meaning?
I did think, like, is he
like it's a voice from God
like
talking
a
to
prophet
Kowalski
or a seer or something?
Right. I mean, because he's blind, he's religious,
blind,
he's communicating directly, and it seems like Kowalski can hear him even, or like they can communicate, like you said, back and forth, even though they really can't.
And like even Super Soul could sense when Kowalski was in danger
Exactly.
without the police scanner.
Right.
He just kind of knew. He's like, oh no.
Because his producer or whoever, the guy that's in the studio with him that's running the tapes and everything would ask him, like, are you ready to come back in the air? And he's like, not yet. Like he was waiting for Kowalski to do something.
Getting the right vibe.
Right.
Yeah. So I think you're right.
Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah, he comes across a biker who knows of Kowalski, and he wants to help Kowalski, and Kowalski asks if he has any more uppers.
He's
And
like,
he's like, yeah, come back to my place. So they go back to Kowalski's place.
Kowalski, sorry to
back to the
interrupt.
biker's place.
No, but just Kowalski is also completely unfazed.
Right.
Every time he takes drugs. He's taking these uppers throughout the whole thing.
keep
His
him awake.
expression never changes.
Yep.
Nothing.
Doesn't get sweaty.
No.
Nothing.
And so they go back to this biker's place, and the biker has a woman there who's just riding around the general area of the house, completely naked on a motorcycle.
Yeah, in the desert.
So
midday.
We did, obviously we talked to each other during the movie, and we had a whole thing about how just unpractical it is to
Completely.
ride on a motorcycle naked in the desert.
But
Even in the early 70s, that would
she's
never
a free
happen.
spirit.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know they had
Come on,
sunscreen back
man.
then. I'm hoping, because she's, at the very
They
least...
didn't have sunscreen. They had like Hawaiian tropic, like tanning oil.
They didn't have, like, SPF, 90
I don't know. I
back
wasn't
then.
there.
They certainly had wind and sand and getting
Right.
sand
They did.
blasted naked
And
on a
sun.
dirt bike.
No thanks. Not for me.
Like, I would think her skin would have looked like a football.
But she was like a Kowalski fangirl.
She had...
I don't understand
I
that.
don't either.
Because
I don't.
No, nope.
at one point, the radio station that Super Soul works in is attacked.
Right.
And at first I'm like, is this a racial thing, or is this the police?
This is the
It
police.
was the police.
So the police break into the radio station, assault Super Soul
And his
producer.
Yeah.
And then when they come back on the air, Kowalski noticed he sounds different. Because right before he goes off the air, he's warning Kowalski about the fact that the police are setting up roadblocks to get into California. But then after the assault, he comes back on the air and he amends what he says, and he says they're all closed except one. Mm-hmm. And Kowalski notices, hey, he sounds a little... Does he sound different to you guys? And the biker listens. He's like, maybe. And then the biker calls
The special lady friend
his
comes over.
naked special lady friend to ride her bike over and to listen. And she even says, it's him, but he sounds square, like more mechanical, like there's something off about him. So the biker scouts out the road that they said was open.
Yeah.
And it was full of cops. So he came back and said, yeah, no, that was a trap. So he ends up...
This is great.
So to get through this, they have like a little mini bike motor. I mean, it's a motorcycle, but it's like
It's a mini bike.
Mini bike.
It's a mini bike.
Yeah.
But it has a red light on the front. So they strap the mini bike on top of the car, and then the biker had like a hand crank siren laying around. Because, what else are you going to have laying
He's a
around in your
hoarder.
junk?
That's why.
You move some mummified cats over, and there was the the crank siren. And they basically haul ass toward this roadblock, pretending to be
With the siren wailing,
and the red
headlight
light
of
on
the
the top.
bike pointed out.
So all the cops see this coming, and they're like, oh, it's one of ours, move all the cars. And so they move all the cars, and then once he gets close enough, they're like, crap, it's him. But at that point, it's too late, and he's gotten through.
Whoever wrote the story thinks very lowly of police officers because they were all like
and their
Keystone
driving
cops.
abilities.
Yes. They were all stupid.
Now, to be fair, the cars they had, I don't know, could, keep up with...
Were those Chryslers?
I don't
Since
know.
the rest of the...
I don't know what kind of cars they were
I
driving.
just thought about that.
I wasn't
wonder
paying
if they were.
attention.
But we then come to the scene that was cut. So what I think I mentioned this before the break.
Yeah.
So the scene that was cut in the US version is he comes across a hitchhiker
Wouldn't be the 70s without it.
that he picks up. And he tells her he's going to San Francisco, and she says, okay.
Great.
She gets in the car. And at first, they don't. He's trying to make conversation. She said she doesn't want to talk. Then she lights up a joint and offers it to him, and he takes it. Now he had been offered a joint with Naked Biker Lady And he declined.
Yeah, she offered him all kinds of things, and he was like, no.
But she did have, oddly, the naked lady did have a collage of all of the things that Kowalski... So she knew who Kowalski was before he got there.
It's weird.
She had it at the ready. Like, she got in.
Like, what are the chances?
And then ran out. I don't know. I don't get it.
She said that she made it when these articles about him came out.
There was an article about Hero Cop.
So this had to be years in the making.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like she was meeting her idol.
That's creepy.
But anyway, it's 70s.
Yep.
So the hitchhiker, he picks up the hitchhiker. She offers him weed. He accepts.
Yeah.
And then he pulls over eventually.
Because he's like, I'm super high.
And he's like, dude, I am so high right now. I cannot drive. But they're talking.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting conversation where he asks her, like she asks his name, and he gives her his name.
Yeah.
He asks her name. She says, I'm not going to tell you right now. Or I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later. And he asks her, was she waiting long? And she says, like, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Everywhere. I've been waiting I've been looking for you everywhere.
Is she deaf?
That's she's deaf. She is the common opinion is she is death.
Yeah.
Like he has skirted death his whole life.
Yep.
He skirted it in Nam. He skirted it in his various crashes.
Yep. In his cop career.
The cop, his lady friend drowned. So he's been surrounded by death.
Yep, and he still is, because he's doing all these risky things.
Because the other thing, now this wasn't cut in the U.S. version. You remember the beginning of the movie? That freeze frame with him in the white car and that black car?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then his car disappears and it focuses on the black car.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that black car shows up multiple times during the movie.
Really?
When?
I don't remember the exact times.
I don't remember it at all.
I know I picked up a black car following him toward the beginning of the movie.
One thing she did say when he picked her up, she asked him where he's headed, and he says San Francisco.
Well, like, why are you going there?
And he says it's home. And she says something like, you say that...
Like it's a good thing.
Like it's a good thing. Like it's a happy thing. And maybe, I mean, that goes along with her being death or harbinger of death, because that's where he meets his demise, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's home. It's the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because when he wakes up, she's gone. Like they get intimate. He leans over and they start kissing, but then it cuts to the next morning.
Yep.
And she's gone. There's nothing, no evidence that she was even there.
That's totally what it is.
Huh.
Totally what it is.
Why would they cut that scene? Like, there's so many other little things that they could have cut.
Like, one of the things I read was that it made it too obvious that that's what was going on. Like, it was too heavy-handed.
I
don't think so.
Disagree.
I don't think so.
I think I haven't seen the U.S. version, but I liked that scene. Like, that scene was like, huh. Like, that's the first scene where I was just like, it made you think more, like past the surface. Like
exactly.
Something's going on.
Yeah, what's happening? Yeah. No, I liked that scene.
But even when he came across the rattlesnake, like before the old man came, like he's very like he doesn't seem rattled or no pun intended or shaken about anything the whole movie. Like he's even
because he's kind of dead inside.
But that's and I think that's the point. Yeah. That's part of the point of the movie where he's just driving toward his eventuality. Like it was like that.
His vanishing point.
That's where he was.
Yeah.
He was always meant to go out, and he wants to go out on his own terms, which is a very 70s ideal.
Yeah, and that was a thematic element of the movie was especially the DJ and other people saying he's truly free. He's the last free man. Mm-hmm. He's doing his own thing. They're trying to get him, and they never did.
Like, he's going to stop, but the question is who's going to stop him, and it was himself.
Death stopped him.
But that's basically what happens after the hitchhiker. Now we're caught up with the beginning of the movie,
right?
Where it ended, where he's heading toward those bulldozers that are blocking the road. and he does not stop. And it's interesting because when they show this shot of the bulldozers, there was this light. Did you notice the light in between the blades?
Yeah, and it lights up his face as it cuts back.
So you see this bright glow of the sun reflecting through the blades.
Yeah.
And he does not stop. He just drives straight right into them.
He doesn't even have like a facial, maybe
he smiles.
Slight happiness, yeah. Like
he smiles.
Just a little pleasant happiness, but that's it.
Like, I'll give you guys a show, and then
Yeah.
he just slams the car into the bulldozers at full speed. It explodes.
Completely.
The firemen come to put the fire out. The crowd disperses.
Nothing to see here. The cops are all pissed off because
End of the movie.
catch him.
And he dies a legend, right? I mean,
Yeah,
he has
a free man.
Yep.
So this movie,
Super 70s.
so 70s, just so many turns of phrase and story decisions and just ideas about things.
Just dialogue between people.
Yeah, but I liked the soundtrack. I thought that was really good. There was a lot of
Mississippi Queen in there.
Mississippi Queen, some gospel music, some bluegrass.
Some of the songs, obviously I heard the songs, but the lyrics of the songs, I noticed it more toward the end, where at one point he was driving and the song was like, "I'm so tired."
Yeah.
Listening to the lyrics, it's almost like the lyrics of the songs were kind of
I think so.
Also narrating what was happening.
And as you got towards the end of the movie, the songs got more and more religious.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of gospel music, a lot of songs about Jesus and God, and you wonder if that's because he was approaching the afterlife, But this was a little gem. It's really too bad that it's not available.
Matt, you were saying that you could see a lot of
Tarantino
homages.
Influence. Well, no, not even homages. I mean, this is his source material, right?
Well, that's what I meant. Like, he took that as inspiration.
For sure. I mean, just the way that the certain scenes were framed, or the way that the music is used.
Well, even the DJ, it almost reminded me of Reservoir Dogs, where they have the DJ the DJ in that movie wasn't speaking directly to the characters,
70s.
but just as a mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just certain interactions. I mean, there's obviously like little to no exposition in this.
Just a dude driving a lot of
Just dude driving, but you can get how this is part of Tarantino's toolbox,
and like weird characters that you come across,
like the two guys who were
that's the other
robbers.
I completely forgot that interaction. He comes across two guys whose car appears to be broken down. They've got a "just married" sign behind the car. It's fairly obvious that they're meant to at least come across as being gay.
Guy's wearing a pink blouse.
They're gay.
They're very.
But they're effeminately. They're 70s gay.
They're very. Yes, they're not trying to make it like it's.
It's obvious.
Well, and it's almost too obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He stops for them because he's an okay guy. He's a decent guy.
He's bored.
He picks them up, and he's asking where they're headed. Or they ask where he's heading. He said San Francisco. They said, great, perfect. Then they get immediately confrontational with him, accuse him of being homophobic or prejudiced against them because they're gay. And he's just like, I don't care.
You're laughing inside.
Right, you're laughing at us inside. But then one of them takes out a gun and says, this is a stick-up. And he's just like, dude, are you serious? And he starts laughing. Now he's laughing at them. And he dispatches them fairly quickly.
It was pretty funny.
And he kicks them out of the car.
Kicks them out of the car while the car's like still rolling.
And they do make a point throughout the movie to say he hasn't done anything felony worthy at the time. They say a couple of, the first few cops, they're like, well, we can get him for failure to stop or reckless driving or whatever, but that's just a misdemeanor, but we'll catch him.
Yeah.
But we're not.
And then the Jaguar guy doesn't press charges. Those two guys that tried to hold him up, obviously they're not going to press charges because they were the criminals in that exchange. And it's also interesting as the movie progresses. He crosses several states. and they show the police dispatch rooms for each state, and they get progressively fancier. So when he's in Colorado, it's just like a guy in a cowboy hat at like a desk.
Yep.
And by the time the California police
that
department
place
is on him, they've got a whole
fancy.
command center.
Sounds like a pinball machine.
With a map. And they've got these
light-up
things,
map.
and these weren't in the U.S. cut either. The road sensors.
That's so stupid.
I guess they left it up to. I don't know whether they needed a mechanism to explain how the cops knew where he was, but also cut from the U.S. release is the California police had these boxes with some sort of wires or cords that went across the road.
And those are things like you've probably run over one before where they're doing traffic studies.
Oh, for congestion or speed.
Yeah,
or
and
that
there'll be like 2 strips, and they're able to measure things, but that's for counting traffic. Like how many cars pass this?
This was just for this Dodge Challenger.
Right, God forbid another car has to go down that road.
So like if anyone else came or was going the other direction or it doesn't matter. It's just ding.
But the map would light up in the police station.
And they put arrows to note what direction
really
he was going
big
in.
Arrows like
here.
It's like you're entering a Microsoft shape arrow into your document.
I love it. It was ridiculous.
But yeah, and it's definitely a 70s movie. But Rachel, you liked it.
I did like it. I enjoyed this movie. It was thought-provoking. It was kind of bizarre. When I rate it, it will get demerits for being a 70s movie.
Oh, that's just a bias.
No, it's my bias. I'm allowed to have it. All rating is bias.
Yep.
So I am going to rate it.
All right, rate it.
I'm going to give it, because it's a 70s movie and there were ridiculous things associated with that, I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 suicidal muscle cars. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I was going to go 3.5 streeps.
Okay, see?
Yeah. Matt, you're a car guy. Did you dig the car aspect of it?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously all practical effects, right? I mean,
no CGI,
there's no
1971.
CGI.
Pretty sure.
All the cars have someone behind the wheel driving them. And they did a really good job. They made the car chases interesting. I mean, remember, you're in the middle of the desert, and there's just long strips of road. And
it's like Mad Max.
Dirt. It's not like Mad Max. This is better. But
This was better.
There was a religious revival strapped to the front of one of the cars with his guitar.
I liked the religious revival group. They were interesting and weird.
They were. If you were going to trim this movie for length, that entire segment could be removed. It could be,
but
though.
I thought that was weird and cool.
It is weird and cool, but it's non-essential to telling the story.
Okay.
But I'm glad they left it in. I really liked it. If you're a Tarantino fan, don't get me wrong, this is not like you're going to watch some Lost Tarantino movie.
No.
But you can sense
inspiration.
The seeds that were planted.
Yes.
Exactly. Yep. So I'd say it's worth watching if you're a fan of his. Like I said, great car chases. I mean, it's not Bullet or anything like that, but
I looked into Bullet too. I've never seen that.
I mean, great car chases in that movie. It is like the classic car chase movie, considered by a lot of people. But it's, I don't know, it's good. It's very 70s, like we said. Good use of music. It's just a
soundtrack is good.
It's a good exercise in filmmaking.
Yeah,
I hope that doesn't sound pretentious
it does,
or ridiculous.
but it's true.
Yeah,
it's true. It still has that like weird, off-putting,
non-human interaction between people.
God, why?
It's like everyone's a supervillain or weird.
There's no real normal people.
No.
Say weird things or things that don't make any sense to me. I don't know. It's okay. I've accepted it.
I definitely think it fit the theme.
Oh, it totally did.
Of course.
That guy was driving too fast
Way too
the
fast.
whole time.
And he was driving himself too fast.
He was.
With the uppers.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of Matt's
Get some reds.
idea of the theme. And
You just it was
Gels them all
all
together.
encompassing.
Yeah.
All encompassing. This guy did not care. He would drive fast through like communities. He'd
Yep.
fly off like
Construction
on ramps,
zones.
construction zones. It's kind of great.
It's
You're
kinda
like,
like-
I want to do that.
Kind of like driving around Rhode Island
It
today.
is, you know.
And to see those cars of the late 60s, early 70s going crazy because they're massive.
They're huge. They're like
big,
boats.
You know, in a straight line they're fine, but once you start going on sand or through the desert with
Yeah.
scrublands and bushes and shrubs and they're spinning around in circles.
Spinning out,
I don't
yeah,
know.
it's
It's
cool.
cool to see.
It is
And they
cool.
roar.
Terrible
Just
And they
suspension.
sound
they do
great.
sound
Those
amazing.
engines sound so good. I was
Yep.
saying you don't hear those sounds anymore.
Yeah.
You just don't.
They're going away for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Sad.
They'd never pass emissions.
No, they won't pass inspection. But yeah.
All right, so
Well,
we have to draw a new theme.
Yeah.
break the
This
deal.
is the end of the
Spin the wheel.
current themesicle. So let's bring out our
Matthew,
random theme wheel.
bring out the wheel.
Our theme wheel.
Theme wheel.
Okay.
You ready?
Give her a
So
spin.
whose turn is it to spin?
I want to spin it.
You're gonna spin it.
I'm going to spin it. Ready? It's like The Price is Right. Here we go.
All right, go.
Okay.
All right, it's going.
The
What will
wheel
it land
has
on this week? What do we got?
Amazing soundtrack.
Oh, jeez.
Amazing soundtrack.
I love this movie had an amazing soundtrack.
This one had-
I don't know
this
if it
one-
was amazing. It was good.
I mean, it was noticeable. It was a
It's
noticeable,
a noticeable
soundtrack.
I have ideas already. I have several movies that immediately jumped. And see, okay, here's the problem. Every Tarantino movie to me has an amazing soundtrack.
They do.
And I'm very tempted, but I think I'm going to branch out. I think it's too easy.
Wow.
But know that I think Tarantino.
You can't pick Jackie Brown.
I know. I can't pick Pulp Fiction either.
No.
Like we just saw it. I can't. But those are, I would just like to say.
Should we make a pact right now and say none of our choices can come from his catalog?
I'm okay with
I'm
saying
fine
that.
with that.
All right.
I think it makes it more challenging.
I do
because those
too.
are low-hanging fruit.
I mean,
It is
it's just
low-hanging fruit.
that's who you think of, right?
Yeah.
That I have some other ones.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay.
I
Well,
have
yeah,
to
that'll be
decide
challenging.
what mood I'm in when it's my pick. All right.
I always procrastinate, and this is the problem.
Oh, because
okay.
you're
I'm always
first.
first. I'm always first. I don't know how that
first.
happened.
Well, someone's
But,
Hot Wheels leading the way.
How we changed when we changed.
I know. But I procrastinate.
Accept it. This is
So,
a good exercise.
Monday night, I will find.
Nice. Great. Tuesday morning, I will find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us on another episode. We so appreciate it.
Yes, and we hope you enjoyed.
We
our
hope
new
you
sounds.
enjoyed our
the soothing sounds.
yes.
Are you-
That's not
so
funny.
stupid.
I'm
It's not
being
funny.
serious.
I know.
What's wrong with you?
Unbelievable.
God.
I hope someone
Anywhere. Taking
can
us
give us
away.
some sort of feedback and let us know if this sounds better, worse,
or
whatever.
the same.
I know.
Or the same.
I feel like
Like the eye doctor.
We all have people in our lives, in our real lives, that we interact with that listen to this show. And
That's
I'm sure they will tell us
What they think.
maybe on the day this comes out how
Yeah.
awesome it sounds. So,
Perhaps.
Awesome sound.
All right.
Awesome
Going
sound.
down.
Going down.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thank you for
Goodbye,
joining us.
everybody.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.